this episode of the podcast, I talk with my friend Bill Weeden. He's a multi-award winning actor, writer, and composer. He's been in such films like Troma's the Kubukiman N.Y.P.D, Pycho Ape, Are We Not Cats, Catch of the Day 2, and a ton of other movies. I can't name them all, there's too many. But I'll link his work in the show notes and stuff where you can check out what he's done. But he's one of the coolest dudes I know. He's done it all. He's a real badass, and we had a great conversation. So hope you enjoy it, and thanks for listening. All right, Bill. Thanks so much for being on my podcast.
My pleasure.
How's everything going your way?
It's going good. I'm very busy. I'm doing a lot of work, which is the way I like it. My plate is very full. Sometimes a little too full, but that's better than not full enough.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's good. How's about you?
It's going good. It's been pretty busy and stuff. The podcast has been keeping me really busy, and it's been keeping me so busy I haven't been really writing reviews in a while, so I got to get back on that train again.
I thought I'd seen a few by you. No.
I did. The last time the Balsamo film, I think It Wants Blood. That was the last time I reviewed. That was a few weeks ago.
Right. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, so I got back on that again. I just got to get back in the routine of it, because podcasting takes a lot, because you got to edit and everything. Then you got to promote it. But it's really cool, and I'm enjoying doing it. So
good. That's the main thing. If you're enjoying doing it, then and you're getting some good feedback on it, are you?
Yeah, I'm getting really good feedback. I got hit by a really cool guest the other day. It's not 100% like finalized, but it'll be happening, I think, next month when I'll be talking with him and stuff. I don't want to jinx it yet, so I'm not saying too much, but it's pretty cool. I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. That's going to be awesome,
Oh, that's great, man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's somebody I would know, right?
Most likely, yeah, you probably know. They're big in the horror world, and they were pretty big. They're still big in, like, the heavy metal world, too. They've been around for a while.
No kidding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Heavy metal, wow. So it's a crossover person, somebody who does rock and also does horror, right?
Yeah, it'll be a crossover person. Yeah.
Now you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, yeah, it might just be a bad signal, but I'm on my phone now, so it's probably better what the computer is going to be. So
good.
Yeah. So you said you've been staying busy. I've been seeing a lot of stuff you're doing. You got movies going on. You're doing some radio stuff too.
I'm involved with a potential web series now. I'm actually in a web series. I'm shooting another one in July, and I'm shooting a film in July, and then I'm doing about 2 or 3 plays, and later, hopefully, they were going to complete a film that I shot last year before the pandemic. Right before the pandemic, we shot this all our scenes. Me and Michael St. Michael's, who's the Greasy Strangler,
Oh yeah.
We co-star in this movie directed by Michael J. Epstein and Sophia Cassioli. Do you know Michael and Sophia?
I do not. I don't know them.
You should know them. They're really great. They're husband and wife team from California.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a lot of films. They did one called Clickbait, which is making some waves now. They did one called Blood of the Tribbids. You ought to get into their vibe. They're very good, and they're shooting a film called The Once and Future Smash, which Michael St. Michael's and I are the lead characters in, but they haven't been able to finish it because after we shot our scenes, COVID took over.
Right.
They haven't been able to finish it yet, but hopefully they're going to finish it in the next couple of months or so. And then that will get released. And then sometime this year, hopefully this year, we'll be doing a sequel to Kubukiman, which you probably know, right?
Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm.
So there's a long delayed sequel called Kubukiman Returns, which I'm going to reprise my role as the evil one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new story, and it should be really fun. That's coming up. And this movie called Ramekins. Do you know a film called Ramekin?
It sounds kind of familiar, but I'm not 100% sure of that one.
It's a horror movie which is really, really good. Directed and written by a guy named Cody Clark,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on Amazon Prime now. It's a sort of comedy horror. It's really very well done, and it's about a young woman who's terrorized by a little souffle dish called a ramekin. You know what a ramekin is? It's this little thing that you make like a creme brulee and stuff, and so this little dish terrorizes her. But it's scary too. So now there's going to be a sequel called Ramekins, as in alien aliens,
Uh-huh.
Called Ramekins, and I'm playing her great uncle, and it's going to be funny and scary again, I think, So that's coming up.
Oh, that sounds super interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check the first one out on Amazon, so I can.
Yeah, you should. It's short, it's funny, and I think it's pretty damn scary. And then I shot a cameo in a movie called Hollywood Werewolf.
Is that James Balsamo?
That's correct. Yes, James Balsamo. I did a cameo in a film last year for him called Catch of the Day 2. I think it's called Catch of the Day 2. You know that one?
Yep.
So you know James's work.
Yeah, I've been friends with James for a while now. Shit, probably like past maybe 10 years now. Online friends. I've never actually met him in person, unfortunately,
Right.
but we're friends online forever. And my band's actually had some music in a few of his movies.
Really? What's your band, man?
Well, former band, but Trip Into Mechanism was the name of my band.
Oh, wow.
And you can find me on like Bandcamp and YouTube and all that stuff if you want to check it out.
What do you play? What instrument?
I was a guitar player and I did vocals. I did all like the harsh vocals, like the screaming stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I met James in person when we shot this movie, The Once and Future Smash. Because we shot all our scenes in 3 days at a thing called it's one of those horror festivals. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it. Called Mad Monster Party.
Okay, yep, I heard of that one. Yep.
Yeah, and it was great. It was great, and James was there, so I met James there. Yeah,
that's cool. He's a great guy, man. I had him on the podcast.
He is. We were on a panel together, and it was fun. Yeah. So, what else? What do you want to know from me, Brandon? Lay it on me.
Oh well, how'd you get started in film? Like, what is your origin story?
Yeah, well, it's a long, winding road because I started out. From the time I started to talk, I stuttered very badly. Okay, I really had a bad stutter, so I wanted to be an actor from the moment I could draw breath or think sentiently. I wanted to be an actor, but I knew I couldn't because I stuttered. So I decided to be a composer and a musician, and I played the piano by ear quite well. And in high school, I started to write songs, and I found a writing partner, and we went through college together and wrote songs and shows in college. Then I came out of college and wrote comedy songs in New York, and they were performed by other people. Then we would sing our songs at parties. I could always play the piano and sing. I wouldn't stutter when that happened. So we played our songs at parties, and somebody asked us to do it in a nightclub. And I felt a little scared about it because I knew I was going to have to talk, and I stuttered. So that was an issue, but I decided to do it because I really wanted to get up on stage. Mm-hmm. So I started to do it with my partner. We started to sing our songs in public, and before you know it, we were approached by Woody Allen's manager, a very famous manager called Jack Rollins, who produced most of Woody Allen's films. And we signed on with him and started to work our act. We needed a lot of work because we were practically rank amateurs, but we did have a certain flair, and we wrote very funny material. So we performed it, and then as time went by, we found a third partner, and then we started to do corporate entertainment and tour the country for Fortune magazine and BMW and other companies, DuPont and all sorts of stuff. And all through the 80s, I made a lot of money doing that corporate entertainment. But then in the 90s, the discretionary income that the companies had during the 80s and the Reagan era sort of dried up. So around that time, my first marriage broke up. So I was feeling very, very bad about a lot of stuff. Wasn't making money. Marriage broke up. I decided I'm going to try to do what I always wanted to do, because at that point, through a lot of work and stuff that happened, I basically didn't stutter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I decided now it's time to do what I always wanted to do in the first place, was just to be an actor. So I started looking at casting notices in casting newspapers, and I found one for something that they described as K-Man, and they described it, and to me it sounded like Troma, because I love the Toxic Avenger.
Right.
So I thought, this sounds like a Troma movie, and I'm going to apply for this and see what happens. Well, I submitted my name and my picture and everything for this part, and I got it. And it was Sergeant Kubukiman N.Y.P.D. And I was cast as the villain.
Mm-hmm.
And what a breakthrough that was for me.
Right.
And it was huge. And the movie, as you know, became kind of a cult hit. I mean, it is a cult hit. It's a cult phenomenon. Not as big as Toxic Avenger, but pretty close in the Troma world, right?
No, exactly. Yeah.
So, and then I did a lot of theater in the meantime. I did loads of theater, and I toured in the Rocky Horror Show. I toured in the Wizard of Oz, and then I played a lot of New York theater off Broadway, and then got an off-Broadway show called The Fantastics, which is the longest-running show in the history of the American theater at that point. And that closed in 2002, but I played it for a year and a half. And it had a 42-year run. I was in the last year and a half of the 42-year run, which was pretty cool. Also, okay, at that point, I started to do more film. And before you know it, I was doing these genre films. I did more horror films. Around that time, I did Citizen Toxie,
Mm-hmm.
Part 4, and I did some other films which were not exactly Troma-ish, but they were in that realm. And since then, I've done a lot of genre films. I did one called Are We Not Cats? Are you aware of Are We Not Cats?
Yes, that's a cool one. I saw that on Shudder when it first came to Shudder. I think it was
very, very cool movie. I really like it. And I'm in that, as you may have noticed. I play a guy behind the bar who serves our hero some watery tomato soup or something like that. It's I did a lot of other stuff, and worked with Upright Citizens Brigade, which is a comedy troupe, very famous one that Amy Poehler was part of the founding members of. Amy Poehler from Saturday Night Live, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of work, and then recently I started to do some of these starring roles, and I'm in one now, which is on Prime, called Pycho Ape, which I know you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's becoming an underground hit.
Yeah, that movie's going all over the place. I'm seeing Pycho Ape, like, getting all kinds of praise from different areas and stuff, and I'm like, it's well worth it. It's a great film.
I think it's hilariously funny. I mean, I'm a comedy writer from way back, and I've written for stars, and I've written for myself, and I've done a lot of comedy, but I don't laugh that much at movies. I'm not an easy audience. I love the Marx Brothers. I love W.C. Fields. I love Some Like It Hot, if you know that. I love Bridesmaids. there are movies that I really like, but there aren't that many of them. And I saw Psycho Ape. I thought, see, we made Psycho Ape 2 years ago in Detroit and New York, and it was a lot of fun to make. The people involved with it are among the most fun people I've ever worked with. The director Addison Binnick, the editor Greg DeLiso, who also directed Hectic Knife, if you know Hectic Knife.
I'm not sure of that one, so I haven't seen that one. No.
You should see it. It's very good. And Kansas Bowling, who was the leading lady in Psycho Ape, and they were all, and Steve Albers, who played the ape. This was a great group of people. We had a ball, but even as we were having a ball, I did not know how funny the movie was going to be, because it was a lot of fun to make. We did a lot of crazy stuff. It was fun. I knew it was going to be a fun, goofy movie. But when I saw it, I laughed out loud so many times, and I had no idea it was going to be that funny. And I credit Addison and Greg for that, because they just really did all the right stuff.
Right. Yeah, it was hilarious and unique too. You know, it was kind of like a play on like Halloween. You know, you were kind of like down on Pleasant. You know, like
My opening speech. I don't know whether you know this. You probably do, because you're into all the horror flicks. But my opening speech is straight verbatim from Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, except for the fact that we substitute gorilla or chimp for child. You know, in Halloween, the guy who runs the insane asylum says, "I met this child, or this baby, or whatever, or this boy who had the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes," right? So we changed it to chimp. I met this chimp who had the devil's eyes, and it's very funny.
Yeah, it's a good blend of horror and comedy done the right way, because there's a lot of stuff, like I said, it's, you know, either it's a horror comedy but it's not really funny, or it's a horror comedy that's more scary than funny.
Right.
You know, it's like a good combination of both.
Well, I honestly think that Psycho Ape is about as scary as a Roadrunner cartoon, but it doesn't need to be scary.
Right.
It's bloody, but and the blood is obviously cartoon blood, but it all works on its own terms, which is what I love about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Kabuki Man and Psycho Ape, and now we have the Once and Future Smash coming out, and the sequel to Kabuki Man. That could really be hot stuff. I'm really excited about all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited for you. I mean, you do it all. Do you prefer one or the other? Like, would you rather do comedy or horror, or you kind of like either or? If you had to pick
anything that's fun to do, I like doing. I almost blush to tell you this. I've been cast 4 times as child molesters.
Oh,
People say, "How can you play that?" Well, you have to get. So you have to find whatever it is to find about that person that you can identify with, and there's damn little when you're talking about child molestation. Believe me, but you can do it, and I just think it's weird that a person as harmless as me, I mean, I'm a pussycat basically, could be cast as that type of person. But it's fun to play. I mean, you have to find that niche that you get into to play a character like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I've also been cast as God in the play, and the evil one, which is basically Satan. So I've run the gamut of characters. It's more fun to play a bad character, because for me, because there's more levels you can hit, you know.
Right. What's one of your what's a favorite role of yours that you played?
Oh God, I've done things on stage which were a lot of fun, but you wouldn't know them. And then in the movies, I think the one I've had the most fun with is Psycho Ape, because it's such a weird character, and I get to do a lot of strange things, but and because Greg DeLiso edited it so wonderfully, it all seems to come together okay. So when I was doing it, I wasn't exactly sure of where it was going. I just did what seemed right for every moment, and
Right.
somehow Greg did for me all the right stuff. So it came out seeming like a kind of a seamless performance, even though it's basically a bunch of shticks. It was a lot of fun to do, and I just really enjoyed the hell out of it. I also enjoyed very much this movie that's coming out called The Once and Future Smash. I haven't seen it, of course, because they haven't finished it. But
Right.
and of course, I love Kubukiman because it changed my life. So
Yeah.
those three parts I'm very, very excited about. I also did a very interesting movie. One of the child molester parts. It's a rock opera, and it's also on Amazon Prime. It can be seen, called The Lives of Hamilton Fish,
Mm-hmm.
which is about two men who were both named Hamilton Fish, who died basically on the same day in 1936, I think it was, and one of them was the Assistant Secretary of the Treasury under Teddy Roosevelt, and the other one was a cannibalistic murderer of children.
Oh.
That's my character, and they both were real people. My
Mhm.
my character, they were both literally named Hamilton Fish, but my character is better known as Albert Fish, and it's a very famous horrible man, you know.
Yeah.
But it's all done in a rock opera style. So when they say how do you play that, well, it was very distanced because I'm lip syncing the singing of the woman who wrote the songs. It's a really interesting movie. It was called by Film Threat magazine. The critic for Film Threat magazine called it the best movie of 2014. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm about to check that out. That's a crazy, like, yeah, Albert.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I think you might like it. I mean, it's definitely on the arty side of artistic, but it's really good. Rachel Mason, who wrote and directed it, is a very talented woman. She
Mhm.
wrote she produced a documentary last year called Circus of Books. Have you heard of Circus of Books?
I have not. No.
It's a documentary which is really, really good about her parents, who were a middle class Jewish couple, owned and operated a gay porn shop in LA.
Mhm.
And it became the central meeting place for a lot of gay men in Los Angeles. And this documentary is about that shop, and it's really good. Rachel's very talented, and she wrote and directed The Lives of Hamilton Fish. She wrote all the songs, she sang all the songs, and me and my co-star lip synced the songs. So
Wow.
it's really interesting. It's kind of a horror movie, but it's a rock opera, so it's not gory or anything. It's just it's the 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 story is very disturbing because of what my character does.
Right. No, super interesting sounding. I like
Yeah,
rock for the most part.
The Lives of Hamilton Fish.
Gotcha. And on Amazon Prime, so anybody
Mhm.
look, you check that out.
And I think it's free on Amazon Prime. I don't think you have to pay anything.
That's cool. There's always some like cool stuff on there, man, that they don't really show up front on Amazon Prime. You got to kind of hunt for it. That sounds like one of those
Yeah.
type of to hunt
Yeah.
for. It's like treasure.
Exactly. I'm also on a web series on Amazon Prime called Thespian,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really worth checking out. I'm only in the second season. I'm only in 3 episodes, but it's a very good series, directed and starring a guy named Mark Unger. He produced it with his wife Maria Unger, and I play his gay uncle,
Mm-hmm.
a very rich man who he's thinking of asking to support his career. He's a former stand-up comic who's trying to become a serious actor. So it's a really interesting thing. That's called Thespian, and I'm on another series called Mr. Student Body President, which used to be on Amazon Prime, but now is, I think, only on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about a high school. I'm the assistant principal.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you have a lot. You're all the things you've been in and stuff, and still continue to be in. It's crazy. Like that's like a giant long list of awesome things. It's pretty amazing. you know.
The funny thing is, I'm an older gentleman, but I'd say that I'm busier than I've been ever, I think, and I just I'm happy with that.
That's good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like so, you're knocking it out the park on all these different projects and stuff, and I'm looking forward to the one with the Greasy Strangler himself, Michael St. Michaels. That's
Yeah, oh, that was a ball. I mean, working with Michael was great. I mean, we they they tell me that we have very good chemistry. It's because you can't really tell when you're doing it, but I thought we did. I thought we did, but apparently we do, which is great. He's a he's a hoot, and it was a lot of fun working with him.
Did you know him before you did the film, or?
No, never met him before, but the the script called for two older guys, and Michael and Sophia, who had worked with, well, they'd worked with Michael had worked with me, but not closely. He'd worked with me, and they knew Michael, and I don't know whether they'd ever worked with Michael before or not. I don't know, but they knew him, of course, from Greasy Strangler and other stuff. So they hired us. They asked us both to do this, and we both said yes. So that was the way that happened, and we were their first choices, and we said yes. So we all went down to North Carolina, and spent a good part of a week together, and shot the whole thing, and apparently it's going to be a lot of fun, and part of it is a panel in which James Balsamo's on too.
Oh
So
wow!
so I think James will be in the movie, as a panelist. I think the panelist part of the movie, though I don't know. I haven't seen the. They have an editor. They've had an editor working on it. He's edited all the footage that we did down in Charlotte.
hmm
But now they have to wait and do the rest of the movie, which knowing Michael and Sophia, they can whip that thing out in jig time, but it's going to be, they have to wait for SAG to lift some of the restrictions on COVID, stuff like that. So
Right.
you have to wait on that. And it's a bummer to have to wait, but that's the way life is.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be worth it though. It'd be worth the wait. It sounds like it's going.
I'm sure it will. It's going to be. I think it's going to be an epic film. I'm looking forward to it. We do.
Yeah, same.
We just outrageous. We just outrageous shit, and it's like great.
What are some of your favorite films? Like name me like 5 of them. You don't have to go too crazy with it, but what are some of your favorites? They don't have to be necessarily horror films, but like just favorite films of all time.
Well, my favorite film of all time is Rear Window by Hitchcock.
Nice.
Do you know it?
Yeah, I've seen it once or twice, but I know of it. Yes.
I've seen it about a zillion times. Hitchcock is my favorite director. I love Hitchcock, and I've seen that movie. I'd say a zillion, but probably 20 times, and it scares the shit out of me every time.
Yep.
And I love The Godfather. I love Casablanca. You know Casablanca?
I know.
That's a movie that won an Oscar in 1942, or I think 42, with Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman.
Yeah, I know of it. Have never seen it though. I know of it.
It's fantastic. Boogie Nights is a favorite of mine.
Is that the one that came out in the 90s?
It came out in 97.
Okay.
Paul Thomas Anderson, you know that director?
Yeah.
It's with Mark Wahlberg and Burt Reynolds and a bunch of people. It's great. You've never seen it?
No, I've seen that one. I've seen it.
Oh, I love it. And what's the newest? The newest movie that I love is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that's yeah.
God, I've seen that I think 4 times so far. I think it's great. I think it's Tarantino's best. But a lot of people don't like it for some reason. It's controversial. I don't know why people don't like it, but some people don't. I love it.
Yeah, I loved it too. I thought it was great. It was definitely one of Tarantino's best. My favorite Tarantino film, which is kind of a collaboration with him and Robert Rodriguez, is Dusk Till Dawn. So I don't know if you can technically call that a Tarantino film.
No, but it's good. It's good. No, I don't call that a Tarantino film, but it's a good film.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, like I say, is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But I also like Pulp Fiction. I like Django Unchained.
Yeah.
I like Jackie Brown. I like most of his films. I don't like Kill Bill.
So I like Kill Bill and Kill Bill Volume 2. I thought they were cool.
You
But
didn't,
become
I,
a fan
I didn't like them. I haven't seen The Unholy. What was it? 8, 7, 9? What is that?
of
The Unholy something or other.
okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. There's an oh and of course I like Intolerable. What's it called? In Bastards. Inglorious Bastards.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah.
And we do a whole scene in Psycho Ape, which is a parody of that. As you may remember, we're talking about are you harboring psycho apes here? And like doing the first scene from Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, that's a great film. Yeah, I remember that part in Psycho Ape now. I had to refresh me there.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I love Hitchcock. I like Billy Wilder a lot, if you know that name.
I'm familiar with the name, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, you should check out his films. They're good, great. The Apartment, Some Like It Hot, Sunset Boulevard, The Lost Weekend, Double Indemnity. They're all great films. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, my tastes go farther back, but I do like later films too. But there aren't that many films that have come out recently that I love. I loved a movie this year called Minari. Did you see Minari?
No, I don't believe I have.
It was nominated for the Oscar. It's about some Koreans who moved to Arkansas and start a farm. It's really good.
No, I haven't seen that one. How many recent horror movies have you watched this year? Like
Recent horror movies. Wait a minute. I did see a couple. I can't think of what they are. I'm terrible on some of this stuff because I see them on Netflix and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some horror movies in the last few years that people love, but I didn't like, called Heredity.
Heredity?
Yeah, I didn't like that one. I mean, it's very well done, but it's genuinely unpleasant in the extreme. I really didn't like it for that reason. It was like I like horror movies that are sort of fun to watch. They can be gory, they can be scary, but they have to have a level of pleasure watching them. And Hereditary was like just the ending was just really, really awful to me. I don't like watching movies like that. And then there was another one. Damn it, I can't remember. I should make a list of the horror movies that I've seen. Oh, I know. One that I'd never seen before that I absolutely fell in love with is Night of the Ghouls. Is that what it's called?
Night of the Ghouls?
Or Night of
sounds...
Night of the Creeps.
Oh, Night of the Creeps. Yeah, that's a great one. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that. I love that one.
Yeah, that's a classic. That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I saw that on TV and then I bought it because I absolutely loved it. Tom Atkins, you know Tom Atkins?
Oh yeah. He's
so great in that. He's just so great. Yeah.
Yeah, anything he's in, I'm usually down with. Like Tom.
I really didn't like Halloween 3. That was another movie that made me, that creeped me out in a bad way. I just couldn't. It was about bugs killing children or something like that. I couldn't get behind that one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that one. A lot of people do like it. It's kind of like a half and half camp on that one.
Yeah, that's a movie that I really found unpleasant. Like Heredity, there are movies that I just can't enjoy because there's something about them that is so toxic.
Right.
But a lot of people love that movie. I know they do.
Oh yeah, it's a big one. I liked it myself. I thought it was cool and everything, but I know what you mean. It is a bit of a downer.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, a Halloween mask that kills the children. That's the idea of killing children is just not pleasant to me. Whatever. That's me. Right.
Right. No. Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people. A lot of people don't like the idea of children being in jeopardy.
Yeah, that and like animals, it's hard to deal with on certain films. Like I don't like seeing animals die. I don't like seeing
Right,
kids.
right, exactly. Yeah, the same thing. Right. I don't like dogs being killed. But there's a movie called Wonder Boys, which I love, but there's one scene where they shoot a dog. Hey,
Yeah.
have you seen that? Have you seen
I,
Wonder Boys?
I believe I have. Yeah.
It's with Michael Douglas and Tobey Maguire and a whole bunch of people
I think it came out in the '90s, right?
in the '90s. I think. Yeah, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the film Gummo before?
What's it called?
It's called Gummo.
No, I haven't seen. Oh,
Oh,
Gummo.
yeah.
Directed by that guy. What's his name?
I'm having a brain.
Yeah,
I can't remember his name, but
a strange name. I can't remember his name, but he's done. No, I haven't seen it because basically I've seen other movies by that director and I didn't like them, so I didn't see Gummo.
yeah, that one ruined my weekend after I watched it. I watched it for the first time a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really like there's a lot of animal killing and stuff with cats and stuff.
Oh no! Oh man!
Yeah, it's a good movie for what it is, but it will ruin your weekend. It's super dark. Like, man, you need to shower after you watch it.
Right. You've reviewed a lot of movies though that sound really scary, and we saw one that was really good, but boy, it put me out. It's called Vivarium.
Oh yeah, that's the one I reviewed. Yep, very.
Yeah, you reviewed it, and I watched it right away, and it's really well done. But boy, what a creep fest that is.
Yeah, there's no happy ending or nothing either.
No, that's got a real downer ending. I mean, it ended the way it probably should have ended, but it's a real downer. That kid is really creepy.
Yeah, he was. They started making all those strange noises and like climbing on the walls and stuff.
God, and the two actors, Imogen Poots and Jesse Eisenberg, right? They're both very good actors.
Very, yes. Yep.
I thought Jesse was a little miscast, but he was good.
Yeah, he still pulled it off pretty well.
He did. She was great.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. There's a lot of mixed reactions on that one too. A lot of people didn't really understand it or whatever, or just didn't like it. I'm like, it hit the right spot with me because I like weird shit like that,
Yeah, it was definitely weird, and I don't know how they constructed that development, but it was really creepy. The fact that all the houses and it was all like a circular thing. You drive around, you come to the same house again. That was creepo. No, that was a good film actually.
What's that?
That was a good film actually.
It was, yeah. I made my top 10 list that year when it came
Oh,
out.
really? Oh, that's good.
It was in my top 10.
Yeah.
If you're into stuff like that, or if that kind of creeps you out, there's a show called Channel Zero. I don't know if you ever seen that. It's like 4 seasons. And it's on Shudder right now. It originated on Sci-Fi, and then Sci-Fi, put on Shudder after everything was over. But that same creepy ass feel. Each season's different, and it's got a different story and stuff. But they're all like really like it's like cerebral, like fucked up shit.
It's a movie called Channel Zero.
It's a TV show on Shudder called Channel Zero.
Oh, it's a TV show. It's a TV series, right?
Yeah. And it 4 seasons, and that was it. Like the 4 seasons were up, they were over, and each season is a different story. So, and they're all really, really good.
Oh, the story runs the whole season. It's an arc of the season.
No, it's 4 seasons. Each season is a different story, and once that's over,
each season is different.
Right.
The story runs through the entire season. It's not a different episode. It's not like Black Mirror where every episode is a different.
No.
Right.
But you should definitely check that. Do you have Shudder?
I will. I'll definitely check that out. Channel Zero, and it's still on Shudder.
Yeah, it's still on Shudder. Yeah, and it's so good. I think a lot of people missed out on that show because it was on Sci-Fi when it first started, and then it was on it for 4 seasons, and they dropped it, and Shudder picked it up, and they haven't made any new ones, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be it for Channel Zero. But the 4 seasons that are out are just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. That's one. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen Channel Zero, like that's one to check out, man. It'd blow your mind.
I will definitely check that out.
Another good one. Have you seen Mandy?
Mandy. No, I haven't.
That's my favorite film, and that's saying a lot, man. Because for a while now, like my favorite's been The Exorcist, or it kind of goes between that and like American Werewolf in London. You know, kind
Right.
of switching back.
I love that one. Wow.
Which one?
American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah, that's like the best werewolf.
Oh, that's incredible. That's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. I love that movie. So, Mandy, who's in it? Who directed it? What's the deal?
The director is Panos Cosmatos. He did another film called Beyond the Black Rainbow.
I've heard of him.
And this one stars Nicolas Cage, and it's crazy, man. It's really it's like it's the ultimate battle, like good versus evil, sorta, and like the everlasting like power of love is kind of the best way to throw it in there.
When did it come out?
I would say maybe 3 years now.
Wow. I think I've heard of it. Now that you say the Cage is in it, I think I've heard of it. I'll have to check it out.
And that's on Shudder as well, and it is just amazing, man. It brings up all kinds of different feelings. I mean, when I watch it, like each time's like a different feeling. It's just super powerful.
Wow.
So good visually. It's like you're in one of those like lucid type dreams or whatever. That's what the visuals are like. They're like otherworldly.
Like what did you say? What I didn't catch what you said. It's like what?
It's like a lucid dream. You know, when you have
a lucid dream. Got it.
The visual that and really good violence in there too as well. Besides like the killer visuals, like it gets pretty like Texas Chainsaw 2-ish.
Wow.
Have you ever seen that before? There's some chainsaw fights in it. There's one chainsaw fight which is really awesome, but it's it's a great movie. It's
a movie I keep thinking I ought to see, but I'm scared to see it is Motel Hell.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, I gather it's very good, but the idea of these people being buried and used as meat just creeps me out too much.
Yeah, and that's actually more like comedy than it is horror. I mean, there's a lot of horror in that, but there's a lot of comedy too.
Oh, there is. Maybe I should check it out. Maybe I should check that one out. Yeah.
When I was a kid, seeing that in the store, like on the VHS cover and all that stuff, like, oh man, that looks pretty fucked up. And being young and stuff like that, I was a little scared to watch it. But when I got a little bit old, 18 years or whatever, it's like, oh, it's kind of a horror comedy. This ain't bad at all.
Yeah, maybe I should check it out. Rory Calhoun is in it. He's an old time movie star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's played in a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah. He used to be in mainstream pictures. A lot of them. How to Marry a Millionaire with Marilyn Monroe.
Wow.
Among many others. I think he was in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway.
Is there any other recent ones that really got to you that you like, or like TV
movies that I like? Well, there's one I just saw last night on Hulu, which is called False Positive. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I was gonna check that out. Is it good?
It is good. It's like a modern take on Rosemary's Baby. It's like it's about a couple that's trying to get pregnant, and they can't get pregnant, and then they go to this fertility doctor, and weird things happen. I don't want to say any more than that, but it's pretty creepy.
Okay, I have to check that out because I passed through it the other day. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard of this one, and did a little bit of research on that. So I think is it an A24 did that film? Did they make?
I don't think so. I don't think it's A24. No, I don't think so. But I may be wrong. I just don't think it is.
Okay. Yeah, because they do a lot of cool films I like. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What else have they done recently? I saw something that they did.
Oh man, there's so most I'm trying to think of right now.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know that I've seen some things by them that I either liked or didn't, but I know I've seen them. If you know what I mean.
Stuff I keep track of all the movies I watch on the Internet Movie Database app on my phone.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, I try to do that myself.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff.
Excuse me.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff out there. Like it's hard to keep track of everything.
Yep, there is.
When you were up and coming and stuff, or as a young person, what who'd you look up to, like actor wise? Like who were your favorites?
When I was coming up as a teenager, I had two idols, and I think I mentioned this to you before when we did our print thing. There was a comedy songwriter called Tom Lehrer, who there's a huge cult for Tom Lehrer. You probably don't know who he is.
No.
He was a Harvard professor, and he wrote very funny songs, uh, outrageously funny songs, and he was an idol of mine. And there was a comedy duo called Bob and Ray, that were also a cult item. That very, very funny guys. Bob Elliott's son, Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding, and Bob Elliott's son is Chris Elliott, who was in There's Something About Mary, currently in Schitt's Creek. You know that guy. If you know Schitt's Creek or There's Something About Mary.
Yeah, I know something about Mary. I haven't watched Schitt's Creek, but I've heard it's pretty good.
Yeah, and then Chris Elliott had a daughter named Amy Elliott, who was a regular on Saturday Night Live. So Bob Elliott, her grandfather, was one of the funniest men alive, and he and Ray Goulding had a duo. As for actors, my favorite actor since I can remember is Jimmy Stewart, who I absolutely love. As for women, I loved Grace Kelly. I loved Lee Remick. I loved Shirley MacLaine. Of later actors, trying to think who I really like these days. Well, I like Frances McDormand, but she's not young. I'm trying to think of younger actors that I really like. I love my co-star in Pycho Ape, Kansas Bowling. I think she's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood too. Did you know that?
I did not know that. No.
She plays one of the Manson gang.
Oh no shit! That's awesome.
She does.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? God, I can't think of it. When I should make a list of these people. But I can't think of any current actors that I'm crazy. I love these are still like older guys. I love Michael Keaton. I love him.
Yeah.
I love Mark Ruffalo. I'm crazy about him. You know Mark Ruffalo, right?
Oh yeah. He played the original. Well, not the original. But he played Incredible. Well, he does play the Incredible Hulk now, don't he?
He does. And you know what? I've never seen the Avengers or any of those movies. I can't get into the Marvel universe. I just can't get into it. I try. I've tried watching them. I don't like them. It's just that's not something I've ever liked. And I know that puts me in a minority, but I just don't like those movies. What can I tell you?
No, I feel you on that. I'm the same way. I've watched most of them, but trying to make it through like the newer ones and stuff is really hard to do because I like it darker, like Batman stuff.
Yeah.
Bright and shiny stuff that the Marvel movies are.
Well, I loved Michael Keaton as Batman. I don't think it's been topped since.
No, he's like the best. He's my favorite too.
He's an amazing actor. He's got such versatility. Beetlejuice and Clean and Sober. You ever seen Clean and Sober?
I believe I have, yeah.
Oh, he's just spectacular. As a coke addict, alcoholic, it's just like so great. And more recently, he was in Birdman and Spotlight, and he does all sorts of great. And Mark Ruffalo was also in Spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great actor. So these people I'm crazy about. But I can't really hook into some of the new people because basically I don't know those movies well enough to know who's who. I know I like Miss Bowling.
Yeah.
Because I acted with her and she's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood again and see if I can spot her because I totally didn't.
Yeah, she has a moment. I don't think she has any dialogue, but she's got a moment that people remember where Brad Pitt is beating the shit out of the guy who poked holes in the tire of the car. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
And Brad Pitt is beating the shit out of this guy, and she's over on the sideline and she's tapping her chest and mouthing "I love you" to the guy who's getting beat up, and it's so cute.
And that's awesome. She got to be in a Tarantino film too.
Yeah. Now she's also a filmmaker on her own. She's making films and videos and stuff. She did a video with Iggy Pop, which was pretty cool.
Oh, badass! Yeah, Iggy Pop's the man. I'm a big fan.
He is. I was up. One of the parts that I lost, and I don't know what happened to this commercial, but I was very close. It was two people were up for the part of his father in a commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not that much older than him, but I was going to play his father if I got it, but I didn't. But I wanted to do that because I like to meet the guy because I admire him.
Yeah, he's such a legend, and he keeps on going. Yeah.
He does. He does. Yeah, I love certain bands from the '60s and Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, CCR, hell yeah, I like them a lot too. Mm-hmm.
And Beach Boys and Lovin' Spoonful. Crazy about those bands.
You said you had some friends that are metal bands, correct? Or 80s
Yeah,
metal?
I was a very close friend of Peter Tork from the Monkees who passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Remember him?
Not really. No, I'm not big on the Monkees. I didn't know too much about them.
Well, he was a great guy. And Tommy Shaw, who's a slide guitarist from Styx.
Okay, Styx. That's the one you told me about. Yeah, Styx.
Yeah, and Tommy's still around. He's doing very well. He's a great guy also. So yeah, I have my rocker friends.
Cool. It's weird, like a lot of rocker guys or metal guys like cross with the hard community, which is pretty cool. Like
Yeah, right. Like
so,
there's a movie that I was in called The Ungovernable Force. Have you heard about that movie?
I have not.
Yeah, Lloyd Kaufman has a cameo in that,
Mm-hmm.
and my real life wife plays his wife in that film. Yeah, she's also an actor.
Oh, that's cool. What's some of the films she's been in that you can?
Well, she started as an actress in the '60s.
Uh-huh.
And she starred in a movie which never got real big release called Light Fantastic, and it's very good, but it never got released. So she left the business for many years,
Mm-hmm.
became a social worker. Then she came back to the business in the '90s when she married me, and she started acting in films that I was in, and we've done a lot of films together. And she was in that movie, The Ungovernable Force, which I play one of the leading characters in. It was made in Boston a few years ago. It hasn't gotten any traction, but and Lloyd, as he often does, did a cameo in that film, and Dolores McDougal, my wife,
Mm-hmm.
played his wife. That was fun.
That's awesome. How's working with Lloyd?
Working with Lloyd is a trip. I mean, he directed me in Kubukiman, as you probably know, and I recently worked with him briefly on Shakespeare's Shitstorm, which is Troma's latest movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just coming out now, and he's a really bright guy. A lot of people have trouble working with him. I know that from just what I've heard, but I never did. I never actually. Well, we both went to Yale, so that meant something to him. And we're about the same age, which meant something to him. So he treats me like basically more of an equal than he does some people. I guess some people he sort of downgrades, and he's made a lot of, not enemies, but people have, not everybody loves him, but he's a character from Charactersville, and I happen to like him a lot.
That's cool. Yeah, he was recently on well, it might have been last season now because time flies. He was on Joe Bob, The Last Drive-In. I think it was last season. He was on there, and he was talking. Pretty cool to see him on with Joe Bob.
Oh yeah, Joe Bob gave me an honorary Oscar for my performance in Kubukiman.
Oh, that's great. That's cool.
Yeah. And Joe Bob's right-hand woman, Darcy, the mail girl, do you know her?
Yep, she's awesome.
She gave Pycho Ape such a rave review. It was like so awesome.
Yeah, I think I saw that on Twitter when she was helping, like she was promoting and stuff on her page, and
she loved that film, and that did a lot for us. Yeah,
they were great, man. I'm so glad that they're in the horror community, and they promote. They're great people.
Absolutely. Yeah, Lloyd is great, and his wife Pat is great.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever met her?
No, I did see she was also on the Joe Bob show when was on there. So
She's amazing. She was actually very instrumental in my getting the role in Kubukiman in the first place, because what happened was, I may have told you this in print, but what happened was they were looking at tapes of people that had auditioned, set audition tapes in,
uh-huh.
and they were going through them, and they saw me and they liked me, but then they went on to the next guy, and then she said, "Wait a minute, go back to that guy. Doesn't he look like Jack Valenti?" Now, you may not know who Jack Valenti is, but he was the head of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences at the time, the Oscars, and Lloyd hated his guts because he didn't promote independent films. And he downgraded them and was nasty about them, apparently. And Lloyd hated his fucking guts. So so Pat said, "Doesn't that guy look like Jack Valenti a little bit?" And I do. I did, and maybe still do look a little bit like the way Jack Valenti looked.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me get the part, because Lloyd loved the idea of the villain looking like his real life nemesis.
Oh. That's pretty cool though. Worked out.
So that helped me get the part. So Pat was instrumental in that, and I still love Pat. And we always bond very nicely whenever I see her. And I do with Lloyd too. He's a cool guy. I really like Lloyd, but he's difficult in the sense that any genius can get difficult sometimes.
Right. Yeah, I've heard mixed reviews on him and stuff. Heard a lot of good, a lot of good about him and stuff. I heard some not so good, but there's a lot of good stuff about him out there.
But he and I always have something cool to talk about when we see each other, and he was in the trailer that we did for Kubukiman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
We did a trailer for it, which hasn't been released yet, but it's a very good trailer. And when the movie gets a little closer to actual production, which I hope will be before the end of the year, then the trailer will come out too.
That'd be cool, yeah.
And I'm in that, and Lloyd is in it too, so that's good.
Cool, yeah. Since things are getting back to normal, hopefully that'll be back on track to get out.
Oh my God, let's hope. I think it's going to happen. I'm very optimistic, but you never know. This thing has been so crazy.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I'm an eternal optimist. So I think maybe it's going to happen. This is what I think, from my mouth to God's ears.
That's good to be optimistic. Like, that's a good attitude. You want to be optimistic and get around that.
So what else we have to say? Is that about it?
Yeah. I think that's everything I wanted to talk to you about. If you have anything else you want to plug while you're on here,
I plugged everything out, and I'm doing this thing called Old Jewish Men now, which a bunch of old Jewish men, and we're doing old Jewish men stuff, and I got to be pictured in Vogue magazine this week because I was wearing these sunglasses that we're promoting for this what hopes to be a web series called Old Jewish Men.
That's badass.
And the sunglasses, which are badass, and I'm pictured in Vogue. It's not in a hard copy magazine, but it's on the Vogue Runway Instagram page.
Okay.
So if you look there, you can see me in these sunglasses, along with the creative director of Interview magazine. It's very trendy. I'm looking forward to being an influencer. That word. I do not. I am totally kidding. I have no desire to be an influencer, but I am in Vogue magazine. So there you go, man.
Yeah, you can add that to your resume there.
Right, influencer. Okay, man. It's great to talk with you.
Yeah, so it's great to talk with you, Bill, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
Thank you so much. Talk to you later.